Right now, you're probably up against one of the biggest challenges you've ever faced, perhaps even in your life. If you are building a business online, if you're somebody who's stepping outside the comfort zone of the 9 to 5 job, if you're doing something brand new, maybe this is the first time you've ever done network marketing or affiliate marketing or any kind of entrepreneurship, then likely you are doing something that most people think is crazy. But guess what? There's something you need to know about what you're doing that's very specific to your success. In fact, the way you approach it will dictate whether or not you succeed or whether or not you flitter away. We're going to be talking about that today on this episode of the Daily Dose of Awesome. My name is JT DeBolt. Great to be with you here on a Wednesday afternoon. As always, my privilege and honor to be with you here. And I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is for you, no matter where you might be tuning in from on the Big Blue Marble. Thanks for joining us here each and every single Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for the EMP, Elite Marketing Pro Daily Dose of Awesome, your 15 minutes of inspiration, education, and motivation to help you get your day started off right. And, of course, make sure you're following us over at elitemarketingpro.com. As you're jumping out, say what's up to me so I can say hi to you. Hey, what's up? Courtney Hackman in the house, one of our awesome leaders here, one of our mentors, Brian Perlman in SoCal. Hey, Brian, great to have SoCal in the house. San Diego is one of my favorite parts of the world. Not sure which part of SoCal you're in, but you know what? Frankly, SoCal is awesome all around. Tony Stewart, what's up, brother? Good to see you, my man. Mike, dude, say hi to your lovely wife for me, Carla. She's amazing. Good to see you, my friend. Tracy Chalmers in the house, another one of our amazing mentors. Always a privilege and an honor to spend some time with you guys, share some airspace here with my high-altitude buds. And today I want to talk to you about really the importance of fighting for what you believe in, fighting for your cause, fighting for the thing that you stand up for. And the biggest thing that I want to kind of ask you today is, what is it you're here to fight for? What is it that this business represents to you? Because oftentimes we kind of miss the big picture, right? We think that building a business is all about income. We think about building a business is all about serving other people. And that's important. Those things are all very important. And if you come out to No Excuses here coming up here in just a few weeks, in fact, like really 2 weeks from this Thursday is when we start the workshop, and then 2 weeks from this Friday is when we actually start the main event. Hopefully you're going to be there. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, make sure you jump over there and grab your tickets, because it's going to be an amazing event. But what I'm going to actually be doing is emceeing the event as well as speaking. So I get an opportunity to speak for a few minutes on Sunday. I'm going to be talking to you about, one of the things I'm going to be talking about is kind of one of the top priorities you have to have in your business, especially if you want to avoid the brain damage and the soul-sucking mistakes that so many entrepreneurs see themselves going through. But that's a whole conversation for a whole nother day. Get yourself over to No Excuses. Make sure you join us there in a couple weeks in Las Vegas. It's going to be awesome. Today, what I want to talk to you about, though, is how fighting for what you believe in is not only a great way to build a business, but it's one of the most important things you can do in your business as an entrepreneur. In fact, as a leader, you have to have something you believe in. What got me thinking about this is that today is June 6th, 2018. 74 years ago today was D-Day, the day where the Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, to really take on the evil forces of Hitler's Nazi regime. Now, I'm not going to get into a bunch of history here or even talk about war or military or any of that kind of stuff, but I want you to just think about this for a moment. Imagine this. Imagine you are on a boat, an open hold boat, meaning it's just basically a floating barge. You're approaching a beach from the sea. The sea is very rough. You're getting thrown around. You're with several of your comrades. You hit the beach, and immediately you're under heavy gunfire. The enemy is trying to shoot you. Not only do you hit the beach, but you have 80 pounds of gear with you, and you're going into face first bullets straight to your face. You got people left and right that are dying in front of you, dying around you, dying behind you. And yet you are charging the beach because you have such a sense of purpose behind what you do. By the way, the average age of you and everybody else around you is 21 years old. Now that's amazing. It's hard to even conceptualize, right? It's truly incredible, the bravery, the courage, and the sense of purpose that a person has to have, that much resolve to face something that intense. But you have to understand that that's not a fairy tale. That's not a story that somebody made up. That was actual reality 74 years ago today. And here's the crazy part about it is there's a lot that has that story has to do with you and your business, because the fear that you might be facing right now, they might be multiple fears. There might be multiple heads to that fear, right? It's like a hydra. If you know what a hydra is from mythology, a hydra is a creature that has multiple heads. And so you cut one off and actually 3 or 4 more grow in its place. So it just continues to propagate itself. Well, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we have fears that look like that. Does that make sense? You have fears that once you attack one, it feels like it opens up Pandora's box for a whole bunch of new ones. Or the minute you start to get clear on what those fears are, maybe it's that fear of rejection. So you go, okay, well, how might I attack this thing? How might I attack this fear of rejection? You start realizing what rejection actually represents, and pretty soon it opens up a whole new Pandora's box of other fears that you didn't even realize were there. If this has ever happened to you, or at least you're one of those people that says, man, you know, I am facing my own Normandy beach of sorts, where I'm facing the enemy full force. I'm going, you know, headlong into the gunfire in my business. I'm going headlong into the gunfire of my fears in order to build my business. If that's you, if you see yourself as somebody who's attacking something that's big, something that's in some cases very intimidating and might even be frightening, I want you to give me a 1 here in the chat box. I want to see who's out there with me. I see lots of folks out there, by the way. It's great to see you guys. As always, chiming in. Lots of 1s, lots of pluses, lots of people giving thumbs up. All right, cool. Here's the thing that I want you to realize is that the thing you're doing right now is critical. All right. You're building a business. That's something that's important. That's not lots of people dialing 1s in here. That's amazing. If you believe in what you do, you're going to have to fight for it. All right. There are going to be times where you're going to have to stand tall in the face of your fear. There's going to be times where you're going to have to stand tall in the face of your own personal insecurities. That's just life. That's the way business is. But here's the good part. Here's the good news. You're not going to die from this, likely. It's likely not going to kill you unless you do something really extreme. Unless you do something where you never get any sleep and you put so much stress and so much burden on yourself where you actually manufacture that stuff, you're likely not going to die on this journey to success, this journey to build a successful business. I don't care what all the gurus are telling you. I don't care what the big memes are saying about how you should hustle your face off and quit everything and do nothing but you're only, work on your business. That's not what we're talking about. That will probably likely kill you. But the fact of the reality is that most of what we fear is likely not going to kill us. You might place that ad and it totally bombs. Not going to kill you. You might run out of your ad budget. You might have 0 money left for your ad. Again, not going to kill you. You might leverage yourself to a place where you have everything in the game and you don't have anything, like where you're like totally have put yourself out there. Not going to kill you. The fact of the matter is most people go from a place of fear to a place of worry. All right. And if you think about worry is really just an acronym that I want you to think about is, will the outcome really ruin you? That's what worry stands for. Will the outcome really ruin you? And the fact of the matter is most people get so worried about things that never actually affect them. Case in point, we had a workshop one time where one of our awesome students came in. And she wasn't running her ads. She was doing everything right. She was coming to the workshops. She was learning. She was studying. She was showing up to the daily dose of awesome. She was going on the webinar. She was downloading all the information. She was learning. She was busting her hump. She had a very clear vision of what she wanted to achieve in her life. She had purpose. She had drive. She had all the things, everything that you could possibly want. It's not that she didn't want it bad enough. All right. She wasn't being lazy. But she wasn't running her ad. She wasn't getting herself out there. She wasn't doing Facebook Live. She wasn't putting herself out there and promoting herself. And we said to her, well, what is it right now that's not working in your business? And she said, well, I'm not getting any conversions. I'm not getting any leads. I'm not making any sales. Okay, well, what might you do differently? Well, I might get my ad going. Okay, cool. So when might you do that? All of a sudden there was this delay and we're like, okay, so what else might you do differently? Well, I might do a Facebook Live. I might get myself out there more on social media. We're like, okay, cool. So when might you do that? And again, her response was, the question was, what is it that's actually holding you back from doing that? And when we got down to it, the core was she was worried that her boss, worried being the key word, worried that her boss would find her out. And we said, okay, well, let me ask you this question. What's the worst possible outcome that might come from this? The worst possible outcome. She said the worst possible outcome is that my boss might find me out, pull me into his office, berate me, and then fire me. Now, think about that. Have you ever had that fear, a fear similar to it? Maybe it's not your boss. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's your parents, right? Maybe it's your next door neighbor. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle. It doesn't matter whom it might be. Somebody on this planet other than yourself, somebody who's not driving the ship, somebody who's not paying your bills. Maybe they are, but somebody's going to come crushing down on you and berate you and quote unquote fire you, just like our student was talking about. If this has ever happened to you, give me a 2 in the chat box. If you can relate to this, lots of people saying 1. Oh, Cecilia just says, especially since I was just terminated from my job. Okay, Cecilia, so actually you might be able to resonate with this just a little bit. And she's talking about, getting pulled into her office and getting fired from her job. Well, Cecilia, you're still here, you're alive, so obviously you're proving my point that the outcome's not going to really ruin you, right? So anyway, back to our student, and there's lots of people dialing 2 in here, which makes complete sense. Lots of folks can relate to this. So our student is saying, well, listen, if my boss fires me, then my income's going to go away. I make a really decent, and she was making like a 6-figure income, like a lot of folks with the golden handcuffs do in corporate. In this case, it was not corporate America, but another part of the world. And so she was concerned about that, justifiably so. Totally understand that. The next question was, okay, so then what might happen? What's the worst possible thing that might result as you from you getting fired from your job? And she said, well, listen, my kids go to private school. I couldn't keep them in that private school, and they're thriving there. They're happy. They're healthy. They're doing great. And that's the most important thing to me. My kids are the, center focus for me doing this business. And she got very emotional about this. It was amazing. It was really cool to see. And I said to her, listen, what happens though if all of that were to go away? Will it really ruin you? Will that outcome really ruin you if all of a sudden you lose your job, you lose your income, the kids all of a sudden can't go to that private school? Is it going to ruin you? And she stopped for a moment and thought, no. And the question that I asked after that was, okay, so who would you be without that belief? What might you do without that belief holding you back? And all of a sudden she stood up a little taller in her chair and she said, if I didn't have that belief system, then I might be out there courageously putting myself out there. And I said, okay, well, what might that look like? Well, I might be doing Facebook ads. I might be doing Facebook Lives. I might be posting on Facebook more, talking about what I really care about. And all of a sudden she starts getting excited. Her posture stands up. And you know what was crazy? The craziest thing in the world is the people around her in the same room started to lift up in their chairs as well. It's like they could pick up on her energy. Now that's important. Figure this out. Listen to me. Catch this. This is key. Her energy affected the energy of everybody else around her. Don't you think the same thing happens when you do or don't put yourself out there? It's true. But you got to freaking fight for what you believe in, all right? Because if you don't fight for it, nobody else will. If those young men hadn't gotten off that barge and charged that beach 74 years ago today, we probably would not be having this conversation. It's very likely we would not be living under the kind of world we live in now. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pound the chest and go, wow, it's so great. You guys don't need me to do that. You can figure that out for yourself. But think about the impact that you have in your life, just like our brave student had when she sat there on her own private Normandy beach, facing her fear of being terminated by her boss. Basically a tyrant in her mind. She stood up to the tyranny of this belief that she couldn't do it. And so what happened next? Well, let me just fill you in on what happened next. She went back from that workshop and started posting her ads, started getting on Facebook, doing Facebook Live, started doing things. And guess what else happened? Her business started taking off. She started making sales. She started doing things where all of a sudden now the income that she needed from her job and from her boss became irrelevant because she was building her business. And to this day, she's a very successful member here in our community because she did what? Because she fought for what she believed in. You see that? That's how come it's so important. And here's the beautiful thing. It didn't just happen for her. Her courage, the example that she set, the example that she led by and continues to lead by, is the thing that inspires other entrepreneurs to do the exact same thing in their business. So I ask you, what is it that is worth fighting for? This business, this dream. What is it that right now perhaps you're playing small? Where is it you're playing small? Where is it you might be allowing certain fears or concerns or worries to get in your way? Because you got to remember what worry stands for. What does worry stand for again? Will the outcome really ruin you? Ask yourself that one question. If right now you're holding yourself back from doing your Facebook Live, or from launching that ad, or from making that financial investment, or from putting yourself out there, asking for the sale, maybe reaching out to that one person in your network that you've been wanting to talk to introduce yourself to, or to show your opportunity to, that thing that's holding you back, imagine the worst possible outcome. The worst possible outcome, and ask yourself, will that outcome really ruin me? Because worry simply stands for, will the outcome really ruin you? And chances are, probably 99.9% of the time, it won't ruin you. Now, you can worry about certain things, like if I drive without my seatbelt, what's the worst possible thing? Well, I'll get in a car accident. Will I die? Yeah, it'll probably ruin you. So yeah, you should probably wear your seatbelt, okay? We're talking about manufactured fear here, because that's all fear is. Fear is a construct in the mind of the human being. There are certain fears that animals have in the animal kingdom that are triggered by their natural sort of instincts. There is a fear-based response there. But what I'm talking about is the fear that we as humans, and specifically the fear we as entrepreneurs, and even more specifically the fear that we as leaders have when we put ourselves out there. Are we enough? Will it work? Can I bounce back from this? Can I handle the success? That's another fear people have. Will I actually be able to handle the success? The answer is yes, you are enough to handle this. And yes, you'll figure this out. Will the outcome really ruin you? Probably not. Most likely it will not. That's the reality. So now, what's your excuse? Most people are probably spinning their wheels right now going, damn, you called me on it, JT. And if that's you, I totally get it. I want you to know I love you, I understand you, and I totally respect you. The question now is, what will you do differently? What might you do right here, right now, today to move just gently past that fear? Because here's the reality about fear, folks. Fear, if you've ever seen a play, you ever gone to a play, you know that they have those like movable backdrops, right? Where it's like a backdrop on wheels. They roll it in, they roll it out to change the scene. That's all fear is. That scene might be a brick wall, for instance, but it's not actually a brick wall. You can't go knock on it and have it hold you back. It's a piece of plastic or a piece of cloth that's painted to look like a brick wall, and that's what fear is. Fear is not even real. It's the crap we make up in our heads, in our hearts, in our minds, and we make it out to be real. I mean, for sure, it feels like a brick wall. It looks like a brick wall, but it's not. You lean up against fear just like you lean up against one of those backdrops in a play, and that thing will give way to you. It will yield to you. But you got to push back. You got to have enough sense and honor of yourself. You have to honor yourself enough and honor your dream enough to actually push back against that fear. Because the worst thing that can happen is fear leads to worry, worry leads to panic. And when you panic, that word also stands for something. That word panic is an acronym for put another nail in the coffin. That's what panic stands for. And when you panic, that's what you do. You panic, you die. When you panic, you turn off your ads. When you panic, you don't do the Facebook Live. When you panic, you don't reach out to that person and ask for the sale. When you panic, your business dies on the vine. You squeeze all the oxygen out of the room and allow it to suffocate. And I know that's not you. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. You're more capable of that. And you have more potential. Now it's time to step into it. Not from a place of fear, not from a place of pressure, not from a place of not enough, but from a place of self-honor. All right? So let's honor ourselves today and every single day. Let's honor our dreams, honor our goals, honor our vision, our mission, our purpose for what we're here to do on this planet Earth. Listen, folks, you get one trip around the block. Make it count. Make it happen today. Make it happen every single day. If this is working for you, give me a high five in the chat box, either the number 5 or a high five, whichever works. Lots of cool comments, by the way. Jan Fraser says, I'm charging the beach, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Get some, Jan. Angeline, I'm doing more Facebook Lives because I believe in sharing my passion to help others. My business is taking off. Boom. Bingo. That's what I'm talking about. Your business takes off when you step into it, when you're willing to fight for what you believe in. There's nothing to fear but fear itself, says Michael. Totally agree with you, man. My face for my Lynn Ann. Sorry, Lynn Ann. For 1 second, it was my eyesight that got me. My first Facebook Live is in 45 minutes today. I'm stepping out there. Yeah, get some. That's freaking awesome. Everyone's afraid of things they haven't done or tried. You won't know until you just do it, says Michael. Totally agree, man. All right, listen, lots of cool comments coming in here. You guys are definitely getting this. High fives all around, which is what I love and appreciate. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Now, get out there and do it, all right? This is not a pump up, motivate you message. This is a reality check, all right? If you feel pumped and motivated, that's on you, and that's wonderful, but that is not my intent, certainly not my purpose here or in life. My intent, my purpose in life as the leadership development dude here is to develop you as the leader that you are here to become, all right? This is a wake-up call. Now get out there and charge full force into that gunfire of fear. Step into it. Push back on it. It will yield to you. Seize the day. Don't be seized by the day. Does that make sense? All right, my friends, listen. You got this. I believe in you. Make today amazing. Make today the masterpiece that you were born here to make it, and make it happen right here, right now. And make sure you join us here each and every single Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. You're going to have another awesome mentor out here tomorrow. And remember, no matter what course you fly in life, fly high, fly fast, and fly far. We'll talk to you guys very soon.